So the early access for the new Skate game has been out for about 2 months. Now that we've had a decent amount of time to digest and give the game a try, I've been left with the lingering question that is, did the game really deserve the negative buzz before release? And was it really all that worth the wait to begin with? Let me draw out the timeline for those who don't know. Not long after the release of Skate 3 in 2010, people were begging for a fourth installment of the game almost immediately. At times it felt like a lost cause since EA wasn't making nearly enough on Skate compared to their yearly sports game drops. You guys know the FIFAs, the Madden, NHL, UFC, it's another big EA title thrown for funsies. PGA Tour, Sims, Need for Speed, maybe, Titanfall, Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Are you done?
You know, they're makers of games. Throw in microtransactions in the mix and there's an even bigger gap. That's like a whole economy within itself. The economy in like FIFA Ultimate Team is more lucrative than like a small country in Africa. A Team of the Year Messi could probably buy you a patch of land out there. Where I'm getting at though is that they were making so much money off of literally anything else. There was no way EA would believe that another Skate game would be worth the effort. What kept the dream alive though was that Skate 3 had a really good run on sales years after their launch. The community was still present through niche clips on social media, a la Steven Flow. Y'all ever seen the clip of Steven Flow? Steven Flow. You know, the clip where Jesus Christ is doing like the Christ Air triple backflip to like Even Flow by Pearl Jam. The devs saw bro doing Christ Air off a mega ramp and said, you know what, let's run it back. Leading to EA Play Live in 2020, 10 years later, when hope returned during the pandemic when the creators of Skate came out and announced that another game was in the works. At this point it was just talks, but they let us see the early phases of development, dropping a first look at some bare bones gameplay 2 years later. Where things soured though was when they released more playtests of the game, which looked a bit more complete. People were saying the graphics looked like Fortnite, and the game didn't fit the realism that they were begging for throughout the years. After that, it seemed like there was some slight dread to this release, but there was still this curiosity about how it would turn out after so long, and this all leads us to now. Skate is currently in early access as a free-to-play title, which to some may be a red flag, but I don't really mind personally. The only things behind a paywall in this game are purely cosmetic. Nothing that affects the gameplay is behind it really. Now on the internet, I've seen a bit of a divide on this game. There's a side that is dissatisfied by the lack of realism with the tricking, the map, and overall look of the game. On the other side of the coin, it's still a fun game to some people who think that the hate is a bit forced. So, is it? Personally, it is a little bit forced, but by no means is it a perfect game. So let's start this off by getting some of that off my chest. Most of the street skating you do in this game is a bit bland. Everything in Sandvan comes off a bit too manufactured for my taste. The game is just missing that gritty street vibe that the other games did well. Even Skate 3, well, that game faced criticisms on its own for that. I feel like the games in the past just did a good job with creating not only cool parks, but streets that felt very natural to make spots out of, whether it was intentional by the devs or not. Though this new game lacks that sense of creativity, they did put most of that into the parks. Some of them turned out really cool, like the rooftop mega ramp, the car park where you jump off the ramp on the roof and it just like you could air right through a church. The main critique I'll give though is that I feel like most of these were made with all of those viral mega ramp clips in mind from previous games. Like, yeah, there are some good spots for some street skating lines, but I think they could have done a better job with that, or at least put the same effort they did with all these wild mega ramp spots. And I think another fumble this game makes is how they handle bills, or as they call it in the game, stunts. Cutting it off from the Thrasher magazine's Hall of Meat segment did bring a small tear to my eye, but I really do wish they kept at least the x-ray thing it would do to signify bone breaks and overall impact. This game sort of takes away that vibe when it tells you that your guy just doesn't get hurt at all. Don't get me wrong, there are some really funny wipeouts you do in this game, and most of it comes from how glitchy the game is, which that's honestly fun in its own right. There are co-op challenges, but it's not at all different from just doing them in single player. And man, do the NPCs talk your ear off in this game. I know many people hate on the AI companion V a lot, which is understandable. Yo V, how do I tray flip?
I'm a filthy little clanker.
No, stop.
Listen to
stop.
my clanker cheeks
No,
clap.
no, please, no. Bro, anybody can get the smoke in this game. Fucking Slappy, Shingo, fucker. There are settings that let you toggle V off or lower dialogue settings, but I wish I knew that before. I wish I knew that when I started the game, because man, this game slaps you with dozens of challenge tutorials that leave them talking your ears off. Speaking of annoying too, the number one thing I might dislike about this game is the amount of pop-up screens you get when you unlock rewards. I mean, like, it's an overwhelming amount of pop-ups. I'll unlock like a pair of shoes from a product box and it slaps me with like fucking bling, box opened, bling, congratulations, bling, eviction notice, bling, there's a bomb in your car, bling, there's a car in your bomb. And then for the same item that I unlock, I will click back to the shop menu and then this may be a glitch on my end. I'm not sure, but what is that shit called? Like the rip score, the rad points. It'll give me another bonus and it'll do another pop-up, bling, and say that as if I'm unlocking something new, but it's the same shoes or whatever item that I got from a completely separate, that doesn't have anything to do with fucking rad points. And it gives me like 3 more pop-ups. It's terrible. It may be my least favorite part of the game, especially when you have a lot of rewards to redeem. When you're collecting that in-game currency and you have to open product box after product box and you just get hit with a like just screen after screen after screen. It's the worst thing of all time. There needs to be something where you could just, choose an allotted amount of boxes to open at the same time, and then it just gives you it all at once, because I'm spending like 10 minutes opening these product boxes, getting complete sensory overload when I just want to do a kickflip. Whew. Okay, now that everything... That definitely seemed like quite a bit to get off my chest. So what would I say they did right? I really don't mind the game giving you more room to do crazy lines and jumps. Like, if you are a fan of doing those big mega ramp jumps, then you'll be eating good with this game. Sometimes landing those huge gaps that took you try after try to get can really be exhilarating. And if it's not your cup of tea, they do leave some things up to the settings where you can adjust the realism or the camera position to replicate the older games. And though a huge part of my criticisms were unlocking the rewards, I do enjoy how generous this game is with how much of the cosmetics you can actually get. There are so many things you can get from the product boxes alone, which you can get with points that are strictly earned in game. They also do the occasional free item drops based on events to reward frequent players who are there to catch those before they take them down. They still do have items that can only be purchased with paywall currency. It's kind of funny, there's like 4 different currencies this game has. It's like the paywall currency, in-game ones that you earn through challenges, and like a battle pass type currency, and some other one. I think it's like a seasonal currency that it'll do. Or no. It's like the currency that you don't like particularly earn, but you just kind of get from like being persistent, borderline belligerent. I think it's called like they call it daddy's money. Yeah, daddy's money. Yeah, it's how you get your first skateboard in the game. And oh yeah, that's right. You can use it to like buy like a Slurpee, like, for those gas station walks, or skates. Now that you got your skateboard, or matter of fact, you can ride to the plug and get a gram. But for me, there's not that big of a gap in quality between that and the items that you can get just from playing the game. As mentioned earlier in the video too, I don't think it's a bad thing that this is a free-to-play game. Assuming it stays that way beyond early access, like content-wise, it could be beneficial depending on what they drop in further updates. Already, I enjoy some of the community parks they drop, such as the spooky park they threw in for Halloween. Also, I should mention, I was pretty surprised with how good the music selection was in this game. There's music from artists like Joey Valence and Bray, McGee, and 2 Hollis, among some other good pulls. Shit, they even got some Earth, Wind, and Fire. It isn't the most vast catalog, but I will say I was surprised since I went in expecting a more neutered soundtrack. Plus, even though I'm not totally satisfied with being stuck with a big city style cartoon map, who's stopping them from adding a whole other part of the world that fits those grimier street qualities? If the game has decent support and the devs can add content worth our time, then the door isn't totally shut there. This is the part where I'm going to kind of crash this down to reality. This game has definitely run its course for me. As much as I'd really like to see this game succeed and everything, in my personal experience, this feels nothing more than a friend slop game. Just the type of game that your buddy on a Discord call would beg and beg and beg you to download just for you guys to play for like a week tops. For other people that may be different, you know, this game does have a vibe of being like a good wind down game after like a long day at work, you know, whatever shoe fits. Just in my personal experience, there's been a lot of games coming out lately. I've been trying to get my hands on all of them, and shit, Marvel Rivals just added my favorite X-Men, so I'm busy with that. But course correction, Skate, new game. It's not Skate 4 technically.
No, it's not Skate 4.
It's a fun game. If you haven't tried it yet, I recommend it. It is free, so I would say it is worth going for a spin. Regarding the game's longevity, that's completely in the developer's hands. If they linger without adding much of any value into the game and focus on dumb things like cosmetics, I see this game dying quick. However, if they have the persistence of a free-to-play like a Marvel Rivals, then there could be some staying power. Drop quality updates, throw in new game modes, new sections of the map, or even some throwback content. If the developers show real care in the game, then it will show through the gameplay and keep people locked in. Anyways, the choice is yours, and that'll be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like and subscribe, and let me know down in the comments, did you play the game already and love it, or would you rather eat a dusty tech deck? Feels good to make another video again. It's been since July when I made my last video. Oh, sorry. Just had to take the rest of the year off and lock in for a minute, but we're back and it's gonna be glorious. Well, until next time, I am going to do a Christ Air into a dumpster. Bye.